I met Ratu Finau at USP in 1977. We did P2 together, foundation at the time. Yeah, and we mixed around together with a group of other friends, and that's how long I've known him, since 1977. He loved to sing. That was one, and he had a lovely voice. He loved to sing. He could play guitar. He could play most musical instruments like a piano, guitar, and he loved to sing Lionel Richie songs, Commodores, Beatles songs. And he was a gentleman. What else about him that I remember? He was a good father.
My dad was very loving. I remember that he was very affectionate, and always his love that he showed to me. I remember when we were little, and my brother and I used to go up to his house to go and spend the night with him, and when we would sleep, we would all sleep in the same bed, and how he would hug me really tight. So, and also that when we used to take us to go around in the car for rides, he would always hold my hand in the car, and then he loved music, so music would be playing and we'd just be listening to music. And right up till when I was older, he would always hug me when I'd go and see him, hug me, and I would always like kiss on the cheek. Yeah, he was very, very loving. What I laugh about and I think about was when I bought him his smartphone, and I took it up to his house, and then I had put it on the internet for him and showed him, and we went on YouTube. So it was the first time for him to go on YouTube, and he was looking up to Michael Jordan and all those, his favorite sportsmen. And yeah, it was just, and we stayed there like about an hour. I stayed there about an hour or more than an hour just in the evening. We were just talking and laughing and just searching up on all his favorite sportsmen. One more thing, and he was very, very protective. My dad was very protective over me, even till I was in my 20s. I would remember also when I was in high school, I'd go to the shop with my friend down in Joe's Farm. And then we would talk to my other friends who were in Grandma, who were some boys, and he would come past in his car, and then they'd just drive right up. And then I'd look and they'd go, "Hello, your father." And I was, "Oh, okay, he's probably going up here." And then the car would just reverse all the way back down, and he would just look at me, and I just know that I had to run and go into the car. And then he's like, "Who's that?" And he'd just drive off and then drop me at home. Another time, when I was in uni, and then he saw me with some of our friends who were in the same class in uni, and then at Kahawa, it was a Kahawa, at the coffee, when he went to get some coffee, and we were going up the escalator, he was coming down, and then that evening he was calling me and asking me, "Who are you with? Who are those boys? What's their names?" Yeah, he was a very protective father as well. And I'd never heard him, he'd never talk bad about people. That's one thing I remember he would never say anything bad about anybody. And also like with how he showed his love to me was also like how he showed his love to. I saw how when I would take my kids up, how his eyes would light up when he would see them. Like that would make him so happy too. Like, and my kids loved him very, very much. And my daughter too, she was really upset when she heard the news. She heard it from my auntie, and then she said, "No, that can't be true. I still have to have some. I still have to spend time with him."
A lot of great memories growing up with Ratu Finau, and just I think he always loved music. My fondest memories of just in his car riding, he always had music playing. He always had I believe the Commodores. I think my first introduction to George Vicoso was through his one when back in '98. Whenever he'd get a hold of guitar, he'd strum out a Lionel Richie song. Very gifted uncle, I think, all round on the piano. Very enthusiastic rugby historian. And one thing I remember about him, he knew every single relation from the relatives in Lubu. He could name every household in Rewa and in Lau. But just lasting memories are just him always being around that, I think. For us, his nephews and the nieces that he had.
Well, Ratu Finau, I got to know him in 1977, really in 78, when I met him through Vitinia, who's my sister-in-law. So I think they were at USP then. And from there we used to go out together. That's when I knew Ratu Finau. I also know Ratu Finau as a very good rugby player. He used to play for the Ngonu rugby team and was selected into the super team. And Epimbola Wangatamo used to be the coach. He played at flanker and locks. He could have been a Fiji rep if it wasn't for his work and school that he had to go to and couldn't really give his time into rugby. But no, they had a champion super team then. But apart from that, Ratu, like I said, we used to drink together. He used to come home. He liked to play guitar and sing also. So after a few beers, we'd sing and play. He was a gentleman, a very shy person. He couldn't, he wasn't comfortable mixing with a lot of people that he didn't know, but very kind-hearted. And every time when he was in Fiji, if not overseas, that's when we'll meet up.
He's in a much better house up in heaven with our Ratu and now Chochi and the rest of our and the rest of the family that have gone before us. Till that glorious morning we will meet again.
We were expecting him to get better, like we thought by him getting him, to the hospital, that because he refused to see a doctor for all the years that I've known him, he's only probably seen the doctor twice. So the last time he actually saw a doctor was, I think, last year when my daughter took him. He was very close to my daughter, and that was she was the only one that could get through to him and talk to him, and managed to get him out of the house and down to the hospital.
Yeah, I miss him so much.